And first pitch, kickoff, face-off, tip-off. It's the No-Show Sportscast. Matt Klein here for you on Mondays and Fridays. The Vancouver Canucks, they come back from the break over the holidays, having a nice 7-4 victory over the San Jose Sharks, but they're unable to get anything positive going against the Flyers as they return home to host them as they lose 4-1 Thursday night. Unfortunately for the Canucks, after it was looking like maybe this was going to be an excellent time to get back into the swing of things and have a few home games to prepare themselves, get back into the flow, they're hit with a large brick in the wall, and they are unable to get a whole lot going against the Philadelphia Flyers, who take them down in quite a convincing fashion, most of the goals happening in the second period. But for me, I mean, this was an interesting game because I didn't expect them to maybe do a lot of hockey over the break, but here they are. They're looking a little bit lethargic. They're looking like a little bit rusty. But I don't think it's time to start worrying about any sort of excuses. I'm certainly not going to say that, they were just tired because they got off of this break, and now, no, none of that, okay? None of that. The Vancouver Canucks are still atop of the NHL, top of the NHL standings. Everything's looking good. For the last month or so, they've had their ups and downs, mostly up. They're at a .660 winning percentage. And so I think it's been easy to say that everything has been kind of going up. If we got the graph, it's been slowly going up. A few dips in here. I was actually thinking about the Vegas loss about a month ago and how that was an excellent test for them. And now here they are. They're losing to the Flyers 4-1 at home. Seemingly, they're out of the game. They didn't play well. DeSmith did not play well. I was also thinking towards the beginning of the game that the Flyers, one of these unpredictable teams, we're seeing Samuel Urson. The Flyers, they're one of these unpredictable teams. Samuel Urson in net. Not so sure we're going to be getting top-tier goaltending. Maybe the Canucks offense, they didn't know what to do, and they weren't expecting, this isn't Carter Hart, and this isn't anybody that we've seen in the past. So an Eastern Conference team, no big deal, no big whoop. I can't imagine Rick Tocchet was thinking that they don't have to worry whatsoever, that they're going to be right as rain coming right back from the break. They haven't played since Saturday night. That's 5 days off. That's way too much time. Nonetheless, I think it all worked out in the end for the Canucks because this is just one game, and they have a nice schedule upcoming anyways. The Senators, Blues, Devils, they've all been struggling, but the road game against the Rangers coming up January 8th, yeah, I'm not even concerned whatsoever about that going down the stretch anyway. But especially since enough of the season has passed. And the Canucks, they can allow for this to happen. A lot of people perhaps may think that their great start, just like what Quinn Hughes was thinking about. He was alluding to this because he had comments suggesting that the Canucks are going to be coming off of the pedal after having it down the entire season. But the Canucks have not shown that, I don't think, because they are not the teams that we've seen since the last time they were atop of the NHL standings. No, they're not. One iota, okay? Let's stop suggesting that. None of that. But hey, the Canucks had a nice thriller on Saturday before the break. I think that was helpful for them, even though it went back and forth. Maybe, hey, the Sharks, they're not one of these teams that we should be allowing to score 4 goals on our goaltender. If Demko's going to win the Vezina, he does not want this. He does not want this on his conscience, giving up 4 goals to the Sharks. But still, a win is a win, no problemo, okay? Also, the Canucks, here's 2 reasons why the Canucks are not like the Canucks that we've seen in the last 5 years. Number 1, there is no way that the stakes of what we've seen so far are going to all go downhill, suggesting such. The progress and the results that we've seen from guys like JT Miller, Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, for the Canucks to fall down and to fall down the standings, shoot down. There's no way that this is going to happen. But, of course, they're not always going to be first in the league. But with these guys, with these players, they're all going to have to stop showing up. They're all going to have to withdraw their expertise that they've been bringing in here. We've got the Norris leader in Quinn Hughes, who leads defensemen in scoring. Brock Besser's second in goals. JT Miller's third in points. So these guys are all going to have to go plummeting in points and not producing anymore, as well as guys that are shooting up the plus-minus ratings. Guys like Connor Garland have been playing well in the bottom six. We've got Dakota Joshua. Philip Hronik has been a huge addition, not to mention Mikheyev, Bluger. These guys have been huge additions for them in that bottom six, and lesser-known defensemen as well, nonetheless. So that has just been huge for them. But the biggest takeaway from not only, so we've got the guys, they've all been rolling. All of their forwards, Hughes, Demko, these guys have been rolling. They would all have to take a significant step back from where they are and how well they've been playing. All of them. Not to mention how the Canucks as a whole, who are around a .660 winning percentage, are these guys going to suddenly fall to 500? And if they are, in the first 3 months of the season, they have set themselves up to make the playoffs, to be in at least a wild card. Even if they lost 6 of their next 12, they're still going to be, and then they kept that trajectory going. That is what's going to be the difference. That is what's separated them from previous seasons, because not only that, but this roster that's been constructed and what Tocchet has been able to do, along with Gonchar, along with Adam Foote and Mike Yeo. We haven't seen this. We didn't see this 5 years ago when Pettersson was a rookie, because all these guys have not proven this. We would have stretches. There would be like a week when the Canucks would win 4 in a row and score 6 goals a game. But this has been going on for 3 months, and this is enough to commend them, not to mention January 1st is right around the corner. And what else is right around the corner? Oh, my goodness, this is crazy. So, the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets, Thursday Night Football. Not so sure what we're going to be expecting from these two guys, but they just light it up. Scoring on opening drives. The beginning of the game looked like the Pro Bowl. We saw Cleveland. Unbelievable play by David Njoku back-to-back. He gets 64 yards on the first drive, and they're running it in. P.J. Ford, is that his name? Jerome Ford, looking like CMC out there. And then you got Joe Flacco looking like prime Peyton Manning. Not so sure that this is sustainable, but it has been such, because Flacco's been throwing for over 300 yards each game that he's been playing and that he's been starting it. And the Cleveland Browns have been winning because their defense is turning up as well. A pick six, significant pressure, sacks, almost getting a fumble there. But Cleveland is just not going away. And this is very interesting and exciting AFC. It's almost like it's reached a point where there's been room enough for them to just pave their way and to almost separate themselves from the guys like the Colts and the Broncos and the Bills, who are still fighting and gaining up on them, getting close, but just not really. Cleveland's always been a little bit farther ahead, another step ahead. But the Jets, on the other hand, have just been unbelievably terrible. Yes, they get that 30-28 win last week, but if anything, that's a spot where you're going to want to lose that game because you just want better draft pick percentage, right? You want to get lower and lower. And that's what Cleveland was kind of helping them out with. Cleveland was helping you guys. So you got to be able to appreciate that. But the Browns, 37-20, destroy the Jets, especially in that first half when they scored over 30 points. They were looking unstoppable. 5 touchdowns in that first half. Joe Flacco, responsible for most of them. I mean, you're getting Jerome Ford in there running around like CMC. You got David Njoku looking like prime Gronk. And then Flacco been able to turn back time at age 39. This dude is unbelievable. And my goodness, they're making it work. Cleveland is making it work. I mean, they paid Ben Simmons all that money. I mean, Deshaun Watson. But they're finding ways to win. And what if they go to the Super Bowl? My goodness. Did they ever not need money more than they did now? But the Jets, they're going to need a whole lot more. They're going to need heaven and earth to be moved for whatever they can muster up next year. Please do not include Rob Saleh. Do not do that, okay? Just move on from him like you are half the roster, because I only want to see a few of these defenders and Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall on offense. Give them the ball. Let them do what they need to do. Hey, I think that it's been working as much as they can. They've been able to turn a unfortunately awful season into some excellent stats to add to their ledger for the foreseeable future. And they can reference back, hey, look how great I was when this was my situation. This game should have been called the 8 QB spot bowl, because there were, between these two teams, they had 8 quarterbacks that were suiting up this season, and that it's been all over the place. Complete roller coaster. Cycled in and out, inserted. Both quarterbacks that played in this game were not on the opening day roster. They probably didn't know if they were playing football this year, and now here we are. Both of them most likely going to end out the season. Flacco has already been told that he's going to finish the season for the Broncos, maybe even earn himself a backup role next year, because P.J. Walker has been completely asinine. He's been invisible. He's been incapable of playing the position, and it's hilarious to me that Joe Flacco's just airing that thing out 50 times a game, and the results have been there. And the playmakers like Njoku and Amari Cooper, who was sitting out this game, Amari Cooper, who had 265 yards last week, was not there. He was not there to capitalize, and he could have done some serious damage against the Jets. But you know who also did some serious damage today? One more nail in the coffin of the Detroit Pistons, because they are now 28 losses into this season. And there's probably a lot of teams in the NBA that aren't even going to have 28 losses for the entire season, let alone before the flipping of the calendar. This is the team that you almost expect is going to be like they played the way they played in preseason. They never really changed that. They never really adjusted to the NBA. They're playing like G League players. You've got a Bugatti in a trailer park in Cade Cunningham. You have Bogdanović guarding Porzingis. Porzingis is turning into everything that Wembenyama was. We were told who he was going to be. We were told that he was going to play like this. Well, instead this season we're getting Porzingis playing like how we were told Wembenyama was going to be doing, what he was going to be doing. And now you got Bogdanović on the Pistons guarding him? None of this is going to happen. None of this is going to work. And the Celtics, my goodness, Joe Mazzulla, he's got one of the best jobs, because this team is rolling. The Celtics are rolling. Cade is the only thing that the Pistons have, and they still can't win without him. Well, they can't win with him, can't win without him, can't win, period. But I can guarantee you, well, I don't know how to divide zero, but if you could, that would be the Pistons without Cade Cunningham. Oh, man, yeah. It's unbelievable. He's in a situation. I remember when Luka was drafted by the Mavericks, and the Mavericks weren't up to anything. And here we are. He's turned that team around. One player can make a difference on a team, surrounded by bums. But the Pistons are beneath that. Like I say, it's beneath zero where the Pistons are. And of course, just like all the other teams in the NBA, they just do not want to be losing to these teams. They do not want to be losing to the Pistons. They can't. They cannot have that on their mind, because it's going to keep them up all night. Hey, we just lost to a 28 losing team streak. Team on a 28 losing game streak. Yeah. I mean, the spread was like 18 points for the Celtics, and that would have been something. They almost got there. They almost came in pretty close there. But unfortunately, I was cheering for the Pistons. I actually thought that they were going to win the game, first game back from the break, but they weren't able to do that. So, lots more coming. We got New Year's weekend. We're going to be coming right back on Monday.